Hey guys, how's it going? So today, this live stream, there, wait, okay, there's the camera. I have my phone upside down. But basically today we're going to be talking about the world's conflict zones, and we're going to be talking about the fish that come from those places, and we're going to be talking about whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. So, um, I know I had a pretty intense Bevan Baptiste. How's it going, man? Welcome. I know I had a pretty heavy, wordy, sciency live stream. Was that yesterday or 2 days ago about plant tissue cultures? I should have made that a video, like an hour-long video, or split it up, but I got on a roll as I sometimes do. So today, yeah, we're gonna be trying some a little bit of what's the word? Ghetto fabulous. That's the word. Ways to share information, and we're gonna be. I've got a tablet here, and I'm hoping that I can pull up maps and things as I need them, and also kind of share information that way, and then flip back and forth. Because there's software that does that for YouTube, but it's like, I don't know, like $1,000 or something, and I make like, well, I don't make any money a month from YouTube, but if I did right now, if they had monetized the channel, it would be, I think, around $2.50 or something. So definitely not paying for that software with it. So for now, bear with me, okay? And drink Dr. Pepper. Okay, so I am going to be looking up a list of conflict zones. I happen to know quite a few in my head, but I want people to see a map of the world as it stands. So here we go. I want you guys to check this out and think about what it means beyond the fish world, but this has major implications in the fish world. Okay, so here's a map of the world, and this has armed conflicts in 2018. So this is just from the beginning of the year till now. And that darkish brown color, that's 10,000 or more deaths in the past year. The reddish orange color is 1,000 to 10,000 deaths in the last year. Minor conflicts are 100 to 1,000 deaths in the past year. And skirmishes are clashes with fewer than 100 deaths in the past year. Okay, so when we look at the map, get ready. Do you see any regions that maybe fish come from at your pet store? Like all of this region. So pretty much everything around the equator is having trouble. And they're not showing it in this map because right now what they're showing here is they're showing Colombia, and that it's having problems with FARC, which is the it's basically a communist and whoa, that was crazy. That went dark. Sorry. It's a communist and fascist war that's going on of paramilitary groups, and FARC is the one that controls most of the territory in Colombia. And one of our favorite fish, Corridoras, the most. Hold on, let me close this door too because it is loud outside. Okay, so the most Corridora species by biodiversity level come from the Meta River in Colombia. And you're seeing on this map, it's got, it said that this is counting wars going on or conflicts. But in the U.S., hold on, why is it saying rotate my device? Okay, is that better? I don't know what happened there. But in the U.S., if you know anything about the gun debate and murder debate, between all the gun deaths in the country, we have like somewhere between 10 and 15,000 murders a year by guns and like 30,000 murders a year or something like that. So that's not on the map. So you can see that the map isn't covering some of the issues that are considered ongoing domestic issues. These are more like ethnic political issues. So issues with politics. And also you can see they didn't light up France or any of the countries where there's been terrorism going on. Granted, that would fall under the light yellow, because not that it's an only X amount died, but less than 200 people have died in those incidents, but a lot have been injured. So this map is missing a whole lot, yet you still see how much of the country or how much of the map is engaged in conflict. Now, the major places. Hey Betsy, how's it going? Oh, you're not feeling good? I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you feel a little bit better. Maybe you can watch without watching. You can listen, and my sweet voice can sing you to sleep. I don't know. With a headache, that's hard. But I just wanted to point out, so as we zoom in here, Thailand's not on that list. Well, Thailand, if you just watch my erythromicron discussion in one of the last videos, actually this border region with Laos and Cambodia and Myanmar, it has a group called the Shan. Now the Shan are heroin growers, poppy growers, and they've been at war. Usually communist factions have been at war, and also supposedly democratic factions have been at war in Thailand indefinitely, basically, for the last 50 years. So we're missing some of that. But Burma, you can see, or Myanmar, sorry, the name has changed long ago, is also lit up. So this region where we get all of our rasboras, erythromicron, dwarf, emerald rasbora, a lot of the chili rasboras and things. Also where we get a lot of our shrimp comes from the mountains in this region, and then down in Sulawesi, in this region, in Indonesia and Malaysia, and then over into Borneo, the island of Borneo, the island of Borneo, and then the island of Sumatra, and Papua New Guinea, which looks like a little dinosaur, Sumatra, Borneo, and then the Philippines. So the Philippines also have shrimp that we like. So instability can have a big impact. Also, countries that have big influence on the trade include Russia, China, Japan. Now, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, they all have issues going on, as you probably have heard in the news, that someone wants to blow us all up and we want to blow them up and yada, yada, yada. I won't get into the politics of that, but I just wanted to show you on a map that a lot of the fish that we love the most are not going to make it to us. Now, if they're being bred in captivity in Florida or in Singapore or China, Malaysia, Indonesia, places like that that are known for it, then obviously we'll get them. But certain species are just not practical to breed in captivity either, or we frankly just don't know how to do it. The one that comes to mind for me is the woodcat, the ninja woodcat. And so far I've not read or heard of anybody being able to breed it in captivity. Well, the other thing that's not shown on this map is that in Brazil right now, there is an organization called Obama, not Obama, Obama, and it is a group put together to conserve wildlife. Now, they have put an end to exporting most of, so the Xingu River down here and other tributaries, and then into the country of Venezuela and Uruguay, Suriname. You also have Rio Negro, the Okavanga, or sorry, no, Okavanga is over here. The Orinoco River also, and the Meta River, as I mentioned, which has like 110 species of Corydora. And to get the fish out of there, you have to find a broker who wants to go there and then fight cocaine drug lords and fight these political warlords that are kidnapping people basically to get ransom and or just to murder political opponents. Now, it's gotten better in Colombia, believe it or not, and that is why we have seen an influx of Corydora of all sorts in the last decade. There are many Corydora waiting to be discovered or described, that's for sure. Now, Mexico and Central America, they don't have it listed on here, but Honduras and Nicaragua are also major conflict zones. So this map is kind of, it's talking about wars, whereas the fact that 30,000 people died in gang violence in a country the size of Chicago, whereas Chicago had, I don't know, 70, what was it? What is it? 700 murders last year, something like that. Regardless, they're bad numbers, and Brazil has an extremely high murder rate too. So it's dangerous for people buying and selling fish to go to these places, especially from the U.S. If you're white and you have money, you look like you're from out of town, you don't speak the language, and you've got money to make deals, it's easy to get taken advantage of. And so they rely on old, trusted trade route contacts. And even in the U.S., there's fish and things that we want from regions such as like the pygmy sunfish in the Okavanga, or man, why do I keep saying that? The Okefenokee Swamp. All these rivers. Giving me a problem today. And so we can get things like that, but there's just fish that haven't really been in the trade, and now we're starting to see some of them when we can't get other fish. And just as the world opens up and keeping critters alive gets easier. So if you guys have any questions at any time, please feel free to ask. Or if you want to talk about something else, if you need help with your aquarium, that's what these are all about. I just figured I'd pick a topic and discuss it a little bit because it was on my mind. So a lot of the shrimp I have downstairs, I'll show you those in a bit, are coming from India. They're coming from Taiwan, or Formosa as it was once known. And that also, so long history, but basically Taiwan, I know this is confusing for people who haven't read about it. It's confusing for those who have too. But in World War II era, the government of China, that was a democratic republic, or at least a republic, a corrupt one, but whatever, fled to Taiwan, the island off the coast. And they fled to Taipei, the capital of Taiwan. And meanwhile, they said, oh, we'll be back. Well, Chairman Mao and the communists took over after the war, and while they had a full functioning government in exile, essentially, even though they claimed it was a territory of China, Taiwan claims that they are the true government to rule all of China. Now, this has been going on since World War II, basically, since right afterwards. And in the meantime, all of mainland China has been like, yeah, okay, have fun with that. That's not the case. And so we now consider, under the one China policy, we consider that China. Now, Hong Kong is also considered part of China, as is, I think Macau is still technically a Portuguese enclave with slightly different laws. And Hong Kong, right in here, is also kind of a funky deal. But all throughout China, there's these issues and things like that. But this is where all the shrimp that we love are from, are these coastlines in here, and then from up in the mountains all through in these countries. Rainbow fish, they're from Papua New Guinea. Now, Papua New Guinea is so extremely remote that there are tribes that barely have contact with the outside world, even. And so the fact that people like Gary Lang are able to get into Australia and Papua New Guinea, Port Moresby, which is up here, Upper Tor River, things like that, even just remote Australian places, and bring those fish back is remarkable. So we really, really depend on diehard collectors and hobbyists a lot more than scientists sometimes, especially in these war zones, because nobody's going to fund a trip to Iraq to go find a little fish that lives in an irrigation ditch, and maybe is a labyrinth fish or something, like some fish we haven't studied thoroughly yet. Jordan also has some really interesting fish, apparently. One of my groups, there was a bit of a kerfuffle regarding banned from export fish in Brazil. One of the medusas I want is on the banned list, but people have bred it, so I'm not too worried. Yeah, Alyssa, you're totally right. So if we go over to Brazil, this, obviously, this map, which is wars, it doesn't list that there's anything going on, but there is. So Obama, which I mentioned earlier, they decided they're not going to be shipping out any more Plecos. They're not going to be shipping out any more of a lot of fish. And they have a list, which if you go to, in Germany, there's a group that organizes the list of Plecos and their L names, whether that's LD or LA or whatever, or L0. They organize all that. I have a long video on that. And yeah, when you get a minute, looks like I've got some Scutularia japonicas. Have you dealt with it? If so, how did you treat it? Basically, let me look at that, Jess, because I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but let me look it up and see if I know it by sight or another name. Yeah, Alyssa, it is about conservation. The other thing it's about is that Obama, yeah, I think it's the shrimp parasite that turns it white, right? It's not the green one. It's the one that turns them whitish pink. I'll get to that. And yes, I think so, but let me pull it up on here real quick in a minute and make sure I'm on the right track. But basically, hey, Alonzo, how's it going? Props channel, hello. Just Vapes, hello. So, as Alyssa was saying, Brazil, big country. There's the Zengu River here, which is a big part of the Amazon, which flows all over. And the Amazon has many tributaries, and most of the tributaries are bigger than, like, the Mississippi River. Some of them go, like, 1,500 kilometers or something. Some of them go all the way into Peru. Okay, Betsy, have a good night. Take care. You're not missing too much on this one, I'm sure. Take care of yourself. You always feel better. Take care of yourself first and foremost so you can take care of your fishies. Get some rest. All right. Let's see. Been told Prozzy takes care of that, but I don't have personal experience. Are you talking about the naming of stuff, Alyssa? Because Obama is a group, and then Piaba, I want to say, is another group, and they both have influence on that. But when it comes down to it, there's some really weird politics when you look deep into it. And so basically all these rivers, Brazil wanted to be completely free of petroleum byproducts and wanted to be carbon neutral by the year, I think it was like 2010 or something. And their cars all run on ethanol or biodiesel and electric. Oh, sorry, Alyssa. I'm reading your thing out of order. I'm out of order. Yes, listen to what Alyssa is saying, Jess. She's totally right. And I'm glad you guys can sort that out in the chat because Alyssa knows what's up. That's exactly what I was thinking and was like, I gotta look up the name of that medication. So, in any case, there's dams being built all over South America now, and they don't have nuclear power in a lot of those countries, and they want to use hydroelectric, tidal, clean, renewable sources, and doing so, they've dammed up rivers. Now, the Amazon can be nothing there. It can be a meadow, or it can be 50 feet underwater in certain areas. And a lot of these fish only spawn in certain conditions. Now, the same can be said about things like, you've got the dwarf cichlids up here. You've got in Sierra Leone and Liberia, which I don't know why those aren't lit up as like terrible war zones. There's still atrocities going on there, as well as Mali and other places too, and Nigeria. So this map's not really accurate, I have to say. I don't know what they're counting as what, but it does give you an idea that most of the fish we love come from this area, and there's issues in that area. So, but yeah, the government basically was building dams. They dammed up areas. They ruined tons and tons of land, and lots of natives got kicked out. Like over 100,000 native Amerindians got kicked out of these regions in the forest people, and tribes and things that aren't necessarily tied into the rest of the world. So ruining like their food source and everything. Not good. So, but those dams, they have just agreed to stop making any more new ones, but they dammed the Xingu River, Xingu. They've dammed that river, and it is large. It is like almost Mississippi River large, if not as big. Probably is in the wet season. And that causes a huge host of problems, and one of the main ones is that there in the Rio Negro and the Meta River, as well as the Orinoco in Venezuela, they are the place for Plecos, and Plecos need certain water conditions, as you know. They don't want super dark, cold water like is at the bottom of a 50-foot river that's moving very slow, or actually a lake. And that has caused a lot of problems for these animals, and we don't know if they're going to survive those changes, or if they'll die off, as a lot of other fish have died off in other regions. In America, we've dammed rivers, and we've pretty much destroyed the Colorado River. It's like no more. For a lot of its path down in the south. So, yeah. Same thing's going on with Egypt. They're building more and more dams. There's already a ginormous dam built in the 60s on the Nile, but there are more dams going into Sudan and Ethiopia. Somalia is, there aren't any fish that we know of there yet anyways that are of commercial interest, but Madagascar has some really interesting plants and fish. And basically, when it's hard to get to all these other areas, it gets harder to get to those areas too. Here, you would be led to believe that South Africa is a safe place. It is not either. And clearly, Tibet, it's claiming, is part of China and safe. It's not either. So yeah, interesting map. But I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because the other night I talked about these fish, all three of the fish in this tank. Actually, all five. There's 5 species that have potential issues. So we've got Plecos. Now, these are calico Plecos. These won't have a problem. People have learned to breed these in captivity, and I think we're good to go on that. But these CPDs, the celestial pearl danios that I picked up today, are from Myanmar, and basically they are under major threat from the Shan people, who do respect and live in the area. They respect the lake and how it's treated, and They are a very poor nation. That the nation of Myanmar has been ranked like number 4 poorest, I think, last I looked, per capita. And basically, they have been using, as most people would probably. Oh, thanks, Denzi Wilson, or Deniz Wilson. Sorry. For reminding people to like the video. We got 3 likes and we've had like 20 people crawl through here so far. So, yeah, but those things. Hey, fake name, how's it going? Yeah, busy. Understand. So, I kind of went over a world map and just pointed out some trouble areas. The Congo is another huge trouble area, but Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, all those things. Thanks, Jess. All those things are going on. Like, why can't I get my pufferfish? Well, Shodantai pufferfish or your Congo pufferfish species, yeah, you're not going to be getting them because somebody has to go into a war zone where people will kill you for existing to get them. So in this tank, we've got white cloud minnows. So I redid this tank as far as what's living in it. We've got white cloud minnows. And what up, dude? When are we seeing your tours? Justin Padilla. Which tours are you referring to? Flynn's Fish Forums. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I hope you're doing well. So, these fish right here, these celestial pearls, right now there's a group of people called the Rohingya, and they are a stateless Muslim group of people, and there is a ultra-nationalist Buddhist extremist, which I know sounds odd to some people, group that is basically killing these people, men, women, and children, raping and killing, and they've been pushed to the edges of the country. Now, the edge of the country includes the borderlands of Shan and Lake Inle, which is where we get celestial pearl danios, CPDs as they're known, and erythromicrons, or emerald dwarf rasboras. Now, neither of these are rasboras. These are sometimes called galaxy rasboras, but these are danios. These are Margarintata. Danio is the CPD's name, and then erythromicron danio is the striped guy's name. Now, these two do interbreed. I was just going to say that so I don't get any comments of people saying, oh my god, they're rare and you're letting them interbreed. Well, luckily, both these two species actually do breed in captivity very readily as long as nothing's eating the fry or the eggs, including the parents. So they're easy to breed, and so that's good. Same with these guys, which are the Vietnamese white cloud minnow. Now, I picked these up at Aquarium Zen in North Seattle today. I traded him a truckload, literally, the back of my truck, of this rock that I gathered for aquascaping and stuff. And I've redone this. This used to be an arch, and it may go back to being an arch, but right now, the substrate is so fertile that I just couldn't bring myself to not use more of the ADA aqua soil. So we've got that, and then we've got, let's see if we can find one. We've got, here we go. Here's a blue cloud or blue sky Endler. And the blue sky Endler is related to the black bar Endlers. Here you can see those mountain minnows, the Vietnamese ones. They're very similar to the Chinese mountain minnow, the white cloud, but they have, let me scoot the light a little bit. Let's try to scoot. To the window, to the wall, all scoot. So there is a very normal looking, I think they're pretty, but this would be an Endler from the wild, very similar to what they look like in the wild. And there's one that's not similar to what they look like in the wild. But Endlers are all but extinct in the wild. I have other videos on that, but basically their environment is gone, and then they've released guppies and things into their population. So whether or not they were originally guppies that evolved or not, who knows, but they are now kind of a big mess and hodgepodge of that, and the water is no longer of good quality in the lagoon in Venezuela where they were found. So in this tank, even though these are not like rare fish, they're all fish that will be on notice for potential problems. And here is a Japanese Endler, all male Endlers going down in this tank. So there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 Endlers, and then there's 7 white cloud minnows, and then there's these CPDs. Now the CPDs in this tank, I had a few left over. If you see any with red fins instead of the bright orange fins, those are from the Thai border region rather than from Lake Inle. And Lake Inle is where we have gotten most of our celestial pearl danios. And I think they're just a really beautiful, subtle fish. I think they look like little trout, and I think they're adorable. And so when I went to Aquariums Zen today to talk to Steve, he was like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "I'm giving you some rocks, or trading you some rocks." And also got some plants, Ludwigia arculata. This actually needs to get planted ASAP. Yeah. 2 buried ladies so far. Well, Jess, if you have shrimp and they're buried and they do pass away, keep an eye on them. But there are little contraptions you can buy/make. Maybe you want to order one now. They're cheap. But basically, they sit on the air stone and it juggles the egg as the female mother would do to keep them from getting green rot. Now, in this tank, there also exists already a hybrid of the erythromicron and the celestial pearl danio. So, yeah, but don't fret if your mother shrimp dies, because sometimes mother shrimp get stressed and die anyhow. And so there's now remedies. You can juggle them in an incubator, and basically you can. There's lots of videos on making them too. Maybe I'll do that, because next time I have to make one, I don't have one on hand anymore. Next time I have to make one, I'll make a video on one. But yeah, so we've got the white clouds. Now these white clouds probably aren't going to stay in this tank just because they eat eggs and they eat everything. And in this tank, my goal is to get it planted dense enough, like in here, that the adults don't really want to go down through how thick it gets. Let's see here. I think it's hiding behind a rock. But you can kind of see how thick the roots get down in here. And I'm hoping that some of the eggs fall in there and some of the babies can naturally have a colony where they exist. See, back here, there's lots of empty space actually left for planting and things. So redoing a lot of stuff in there. I'll be planting some more hydrocotyl, the mini 4-leaf clover looking stuff. And then this is a very pretty plant, the Ludwigia arculata or arcata, I don't know, whatever. I think there might be an arculata and an arcata, but it's very pretty, as is. I wish the camera was better on live streams, but it's not. Like, the vividness of things is lame. But this is such a pretty little Endler, and this is not a selectively bred Endler, if we can get it to focus on this little blue and orange and yellow guy. This is from a wild population which was left in somebody's pond in Europe and Germany. And over the years, this is what's come out of it from a wild population, was a lot of them look like this. So it's kind of a cool story of like selective colony breeding without intelligent design of it, intelligent selection. So I need to feed those fishies. I need to feed all my fishies, and that will be fun for you guys to see. So the other thing that I'm going to show you guys right now is this is my Vinegar Eel Culture. And let's see, trying to find the right light. That haze, there be liquid gold, or little wormy gold. And basically, I'll do a video on this too. Alex, just get one of those $4,000 cameras. Yeah, no big deal, totally. Yeah, I'm right on that. Right after, actually, I do want to get like a gimbal thing, like, that's what they're called, right? Where it allows you to like move and not be as shaky and stuff. But these fish should really dig the live food. Now, the way I'm doing this, technically you want to use a filter. So when you get vinegar eels out generally, you're going to use a filter so that the apple cider vinegar isn't like I don't know, all over the place in the concentrate and screwing up your pH. But in a tank like this size of this one here, the 40 gallon, you'll watch when we put in some of these little eels. Let's see if you can see it at all. So there's the eels. And I say eels, they're just little worms. But the little fish should catch on quickly that there's something going on there and eat. And boom, there they all are. So, yeah, that's kind of cool to watch them do their thing. And I'm not worried about the pH getting all screwy in here with this many fish and 40 gallons and all the plants. And to that same effect, it's just kind of a pain to actually get a coffee filter or to put water in here and wait 24 hours for the worms to have to breathe and go up to the top. But I should make a video on how to do all that because it is worth note. Now in here, we've also got some Phoenix rasboras and interesting little fish. So we're just going to do some little puffs of the vinegar, and you'll see, you can kind of see it swirling around, and all the fish are going to come to it because ain't nothing like a live feeding. So I like to give them that treat every couple of days. This is the male that is from LRB Aquatics, Lucas Bretz. Even my shy little ruby tetra that won't come out for anyone is out to see what's going on when these guys hit the show. So Vinegar Eels, a big hit with those really bright neon green rasboras. Everybody seems to be doing well in this tank, even though I don't know how the lighting is for you guys. Everyone's doing well. I've got a Starlight Pleco in here, and it appears I see 2 whiskers. I need to get a better look at that critter, and I'm going to do that right now because, well, maybe I'm not. Because I want to know, let's see if we can spook it out this way. I want to know if this is a male or a female very badly. Okay, now it's going back in. You guys are going to have to help me. So we're looking for barbels. We're looking for little barbels. Okay, yes. Okay, boom. Why can't you guys see what's going on? Let's see. There we go. All right. So, of course, the one thing it's hiding is its head. All right. So let me zoom in now. That should give us ample... Oh, and it's right back to its crevice. I see 2 barbels. Let's zoom in. I can't zoom in because of the chat. Oh, life is so tough. All right. Hold on. Alyssa, do female L183s, do they actually grow, I mean, I know that they have like, I don't know, 4 or 6, whatever it is, barbels. Do they grow the full amount that like males do, like 10 or 20 or whatever it is? Or do they have, well, now it's gone. But needless to say, I found out just now that one has... yeah, fish just don't respect filming. Come on, fish. Come on. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if this is a big pond snail or what the heck it is, but it is a biggin. And, whoop, sorry, dude. Yeah, you will have to wait until... He or she is 4 inches long. Okay, because Aqua Zen has one that is, it's got like, I don't know, 15 whiskers or something. I'm making up a number. It has a ton of whiskers, and that one that I have is the same age, same size, maybe 3 inches or something like that. and it has not even, I don't know, it has very few whiskers. It has this one here has like two or four maybe, but two that I can see clearly. All right, so now we're gonna go to this tank, give them the liquid gold. Let's see if they want it. They're a little traumatized right now. See how dirty their tank is, but let's see if they'll go for it. You guys picking up what I'm putting down? You guys see the vinegar eels? Oh, I think they I think the message has gotten out. You see how many fish are hanging out right there? All of a sudden it goes from like, hey, there's a couple fish in this tank to nom 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 nom. So even the shy little guys down in the bottom come out for an appearance. Maybe you'll see my redfin fish. Also, these a lot of these fish tend to color up better when they're feeding. Here is a great example of a female celestial pearl. You see that black notch on her belly in between her fins? That is a surefire way to tell if a celestial pearl is a female. That is like their little gravid spot. And yeah, so that's just a little tip. Erythromicrons kind of have that too, but there's color and other things that can play a role also. Now the erythromicrons, or emerald dwarf catfish, or rasboras or danios, whatever you want to call them, they're danio. They are striped, same body shape and everything, but they are very shy. And the fact that I'm talking, for one, and two, that I have a camera or anything foreign next to the tank, they can spot it, and they know that I'm here from like a mile away. And so I should step away and see, oh, they were back there, and see if they'll feed. So I'm going to let them feed. And in this tank, I know that's a lot of little fish in a tank, but all these fish have an immensely low bioload, and so I'm not worried about that aspect of things. Over here, we're going to also feed this tank. So I wanted to point out that I have split my, I split a lot of plants. Right now, these algae eaters, they're awesome. They eat the algae, but they also, if they're stuck on a piece of algae, rip out the whole friggin' plant. And this is something interesting. So I have this lily. So this is the Tricolor Nymphaea Micrantha. This is the crazy colored one, the one that you can see under the right light reflection is the most beautiful purple to crimson red coloring in this crazy tie-dye ripply way. So this is a morph of the normal Nymphaea Micrantha, and this is very hard to find. Nobody in the US that I know of is selling this morph on it. So yeah, but this piece right here, this here we go. This piece right here has grown up from this height, same as all these guys, to we're at surface level of the water, and it has grown that fast in, I want to say, less than 48 hours. It's been 2 days. So it's growing a foot a day right now. This one thing. So it should be coming up and turning into a flower or lotus soon, instead of just being a lily. So that should be cool. Have you thought about opening an online store to sell some plants and fish? Dennis Wilson. I am open to doing that to folks who want some of my fish, especially stuff that I'm breeding. So you can always message me. But it's kind of a hassle, and like to get the heat, and like then there's the death upon arrival policy. So plants, like, I feel more inclined to do. And if you live in my area, I would love to sell you plants and fish and whatever. I'll sell you whatever you want. I'll sell you my time. I'll come and check out your tank. Just looking at some of the comments real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. One male, one female, sometimes. Okay. Yeah. So there's that, and then there's also my Dennis. There's my Patreon page, which essentially allows you to buy fish from me. Now, granted, I'm not going to be a stickler for that rule, especially as this channel is not like a huge population to manage. Like, we've got whatever, 16 or 1700 people subscribed. Hey, Alyssa, you have a great night. Let's chat a little bit about your fishies later. I want to talk about the Pleco. Bob, I clicked on the profile. Oh, yeah, that's something else. So I made this channel, and now my name and all my emails is The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, which is not so professional when you're a graphic designer. So I need to change that too. But in here, we got a lot of conflict zone fish. Almost everyone in here is from Venezuela or Brazil. These guys are from the Xingu River, orange-eyed lemon tetras. They also are found other places, but this specific strain was collected by somebody in our club who went there, or in actually the Portland club who went there. And so they will not be coming out of that region again unless smuggled illegally. Also, an African fish here, we've got Pelvic Acronis Vulture. And there's also all the Tiniata species, but the female and male, they've been hiding, so I'm wondering if they have eggs. There's the female back there. And everybody's making room for them, so they must have been territorial lately because they've had this little cave cordoned off where pretty much only them and a few catfish are allowed in there. Let's go downstairs. We'll feed those fish downstairs, and then we'll look at the shrimp, and we'll talk about where some of the shrimp are from that could be issues in the coming days. Also things like, obviously, the Congo tetra. That's a little easier to gather. It's more common in other areas, but some things only occur on certain stretches of the river, and that can be a problem. So I know my room's messy. This is all art stuff stacked up, and I know it looks like a total bomb went off in here or something, but it's actually somewhat organized, believe it or not. There's a printer, but I took down this tank. That's another Vinegar Eel Culture. I took down this tank, and it had blue bolt shrimp in it. Now, I'm gonna make some videos, I hope, let's see, about Hydra. So I already have made some about Aufux and Hydra, but this tank got inundated, just blasted with planaria and Hydra. So I put boiling water, not quite boiling, but real hot water in here, and obviously no shrimp in it. I did not turn it into a gumbo pot, but now I don't see so many. And that was kind of an experiment to see what would happen if I did that, really, for nothing other than that reason. But now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this tank. I think this tank, since planaria bugs smaller fish and stuff, we might be doing the white clouds in here since they don't need a heater. So maybe I'll do white clouds in there. If some of you saw my live stream not long ago, you know the deal with the Hydra. Actually, I see a Hydra right now in my shrimp tank. This is the tank for Betsy. This is the... no, that's a reflection of one. There's not two. But this is a big Hydra. Sorry, I'm zoomed in, but this is a big Hydra. And that little thing is reaching out and trying to grab any little plankton that it can, and then it brings it in and eats. But if we, let's see, I'm trying to look what's around it that we can zoom in on easily. I'm trying to find, so here is a snail, and I'm trying to find the baby shrimp. Here's a normal shrimp. Where are you? Right there. And above it, we've got a really buried female, and she's got tons of eggs in there. She's not really juggling them as much as she should for this stage in the pregnancy, and they're yellowish looking, but I can't tell if there may be some green in there. And I've never had a problem with the green bacteria or fungi, I should say, that some shrimp get when they're pregnant on their eggs, but this might be a first. So in here, I think my new beta ate the hydra in my tank. That's good. I have been searching for a fish that will eat them gleefully. There are a lot of fish that eat them, but not like dedicated hunters of them that I've found. Sparkling gouramis supposedly are pretty good at it. But yeah, so this tank has bolt shrimp and stuff, and these are all now so domesticated, and they don't even exist in the wild, these colors and things. So I wouldn't worry about them not being available, other than if we start a trade war with China, then you're not going to probably see some of this stuff. But you're probably going to have bigger problems than shrimp. So this one is also a beautiful jade shrimp. So you may be thinking, why do you have neocaradinas together of different types? But this one is a very pregnant green female who has been with only green neocaradinas, jade shrimp. And so I'm hoping that she gives birth to them. But she has not been juggling as they should be, as much as they should be. Let's try to get that focus better. But yeah, so let's, I don't want to be mean, but let's just kind of nudge the leaf and see if she juggles at all. She's not juggling, and it makes me worried that possibly the young are no longer viable or something along those lines. Because usually mother shrimp are constantly juggling. And in here you can see in their feeding dish, which I clean out daily, they've been doing a super fabulous job of filling it with rocks and crap. So I don't know why they're doing that, but you can also see the yellow sakura babies and then the orange fire babies that are in here. So these babies, I mix baby types of shrimp with just red cherry shrimp. So if anyone's going to get contaminated, it's them. Because you can see on the other kinds of shrimp, you can see their saddle, and then you can pull them out if you think they've gotten old enough to have a saddle and become pregnant by a red cherry that you don't want them to be pregnant by. So that's kind of my way of having a nursery of shrimp. But it requires constant attention to what's going on. Now over here, this is the mixed bag tank. These guys, there is no crossbreeding that will happen here, but we've got crystal shrimp, we've got red lines, we've got blue dreams that are Lucas Brett's world's bluest. And you can see right now with the light coming through, you can see the berries on the shrimp. You see that? They're yellow. And the berries, I've seen all different colors. Also, you can see on the back here, she has a saddle right there of eggs. And so if I had seen her in another tank, for instance, with other colored neocaridina, I would get her out ASAP, because as soon as those eggs drop out of the saddle, they will be fertilized by whoever is around. Now here are my Indian shrimp, and these will be probably hard to get because they are from the region of India with the same issues as Myanmar, with the violence of the Rohingya people. That's 600,000 people without a home. It's similar to the Palestinian issue in that nobody recognizes them officially as a state, and some people have promised them things at one point in time, and then there's been extremists within the group that have caused violence, and then all sorts of people have retaliated. And if you ask me, very disproportionately, and it's always disproportionately when you're killing women and children, committing rape and killing their livestock, and all, just terrible things going on. But it makes the region very unstable, And not that shrimp should be your concern, but let's just talk about that since this channel, that's what we talk about, is that yes, that will be an issue. So then we've got golden bees. Again, this is just another form of a crystal shrimp, essentially. And they'll be just fine. They are a made-up shrimp, essentially, they're a designer shrimp. So I'm hoping that some of those breed. The parameters are set closer to what the Caridina need than what the Neocaridina need. Now, moving on up. This is the coal tank of shrimps, and we have all sorts of random shrimp. We also have a bunch of baby Endlers that literally appeared over the last hour. So that's cool. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8. At least 8 new babies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we got lots of babies going down. So that's cool. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 is what I see in that over there. Do a little searching. What was sticking out of the HO? Oh, this hang off the back filter is not in operation. There's just some rinsed off filter floss up there in case I need it for anything. Also, there's another generation of little Endlers in here just doing their thing. It's interesting, this Endler has blue eyes and the others don't. So I'm wondering if maybe I have a rainbow fish again, or if some crazy chance I actually managed to finally spawn one of these annulatus, the clown killies, that I've been working on trying to spawn forever. But yeah, so I just found one with a blue eye, one fry with a blue eye. One fry with a blue eye. And these are really cool fish. These are from one of the worst regions to try to get them from, but luckily they breed in captivity, and they're a beautiful little nano fish. This one is the biggest male I've ever owned, and he is still smaller than the last digit on my pinky. But you can see there's red, there's blue, there's orange. He's got those stunning blue eyes. There's yellow. They look just like a rocket. I don't know why anyone would call them clown killifish. They're rocket killifish. But I've been trying to get them to breed in the tank that was overrun by Hydra too. And so maybe, possibly, hopefully, that little blue-eyed, wherever it went, could be a baby. So up here we have the Japanese blue Endler colony. Also mixed in, we've got a rainbow snakeskin guppy, and then we have a very lightly spotted Endler that is a leopard Endler. Focus. And yeah, so we got all that going on. We've got some catfish in here, some axelrodi, and then we've also got these, which will be a conflict zone. Man, you see how many of my fish are from conflict zones? And I didn't even really think about it before this. Yes, the guppy has a very crooked back. Everyone always says that about her. I have been worried about her, felt her pain. She's like over a year old now, and she does have a deformed spine, but she's always super pregnant and just like always just like plops out like 2 or 3 babies a day indefinitely. And so I don't know what's going on with her, but guppies can store sperm from, like, say that this guy's putting on the best show today. She can store his sperm, and somehow it's marked to hold on to it. And say she doesn't like this other guy's sperm, these two, which are my F2. So this guy ideally is what I'm going for. I want more color in his head eventually, but he's the closest to what I'm going for right here. And this is close, but no dice there. And then I wouldn't mind some of this iridescent rainbow look. So I'm going to try breeding that in. I'm going to try breeding the black head off the leopard Endler in. So we're going to have this next generation. Some other ones have been set aside, but this next generation, we're going to have all sorts of crazy Endlers. And as I was saying, if you want to buy fish from me, if you live in the United States, I can ship. I haven't done a lot of that, and it makes me nervous. This guy has already been crossed, by the way, once with a leopard Endler. You can see the leopard, if he holds still ever, you can see leopard spots on his tail, which is kind of cool. He kept the lyre tail, but he's got 3 leopard spots in the center of that tail before it splits. This guy wasn't so lucky, the other one. But it's more purple and white than yellow and blue. And in here I built some new caves. Let's zoom out so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, that guppy probably didn't get enough calcium as a baby or nutrients. May have been inbred, basically, because I'm doing line breedings. And there's a lot of things that could have gone wrong in that guppy's poor life. But I was going to cull her, put her out of her misery, but she's faster than the other ones, and she doesn't seem to be in pain or panting, so I've just let her do her thing. And in this tank, I've also got a, this is kind of my guppy grow-out tank for everything that's not an Endler. So these are Endlers and guppies, but things are growing out in here like oddball, I had a rainbow fish that, like any fry that I find, once they're past the critical stage of feeding them little teeny food, I'll throw them in here and let the power head give them a current. And there's a power head up in the big tank upstairs too. But let's talk about the last group in here. These Pelvic Acronis tenuatus maliways. There's, 10 or a dozen of them in here. They were little babies, and now they're growing up so fast. But basically, these little fish are from Cameroon and Nigeria, both places that have lots of civil unrest, corrupt governments, crazy laws. Also, they have things like militias that take over oil pipelines and control everything from like fishing for foods, what's that called? Subsistence fishing, all the way down to like leisure fishing and stuff like that. So it's a very dangerous, scary place. And cribs, luckily, they can be bred. They can be bred in captivity, but some of the types are relatively hard to get to breed. So right now, I'm just feeding a couple pellets into my shrimp tanks. They've earned it. They've worked hard for their reconstitutionalized salmon heads or whatever the heck it is. I feed them a different food pretty much daily, all weeks, and then repeat, and then I change places like the Mad Hatter. We are very, very fortunate to live where we do. Yes, there's corruption. Yes, there's insanity. And, depending on where you're at in the political spectrum, there's kind of a lot going on both sides that folks may not approve of. I can see I don't approve of a lot on both sides. And I do approve of a little bit on both sides, so, whatever. But then I like to do fluval bug bites. These are like basically ground up mosquitoes. And those will float for a minute and then they'll sink. And in here with like the Cory catfish and the cribs, they really need it. And so this tank gets fed the second most out of all the tanks. And with the power head in it, you can see it really kicks it around. And so they're not all concentrated in one spot. Everyone gets to eat. That's another upside. I wish that power heads were more common, that people knew more about them, because it just keeps the temperature of the tank more regular. It keeps the it just keeps everything more zen, if that makes sense. That was probably a little bit too much of the squeeze jar, but I like this aquarium co-op fry food. You can get like a pound of it for cheap. Do you like tube fish? No, I don't really have any or experience, honestly, so I can't comment on that too much. Sorry. But yeah, I do really like, somebody else just commented on bug bites. Yes, I really like bug bites. I use the tropical small one. It's like a blue container for little guys like this. And then I use the fry food again. Now, I know we fed these guys the vinegar eels, but vinegar eels will stay alive for up to 12 hours in the tank. And so I'm going to give them some shakes of fry food. Now that looks like a lot, but it actually, they're such fine flakes that it's the oil off of them that you're really seeing. Let's see if we can see the underside. It's not that, they're such tiny flakes. So they settle, and then the Danios and stuff will eat them. But let's feed the big tank, and then I think I'm going to call it a day unless you guys have some questions. Also, I'm hoping, let's try to zoom out a little more if that is possible. I don't know that it is. Oh, it is. Yay! Shrimp bites. I would like to try fluval shrimp bites too. I've been seeing those advertised. Rob, Flip Aquatics. By the way, if you shop Flip Aquatics, be sure to use you can save yourself some money and get a discount by using the discount code history with a capital H and then 10 at the end, no spaces. So the word history with a capital H and then 10, and that will get you 10% off anything in his store, because him and I have teamed up, as Aquatic Arts and I have teamed up, and Lucas Bretz and I have kind of teamed up. Aquatic Arts, if you want to get something from Aquatic Arts, like some of these lovely, thank you so much for posting that, History 10. And for Aquatic Arts, it's Secret Shrimp, all caps, and then the number 10 for aquaticarts.com. And they have a killer selection of plants and animals and all sorts of stuff. I love when you see that. I don't know if you guys caught that, but the rainbow fish in there, or any fish, but they'll take and this tank looks cloudy right now, but I promise it's just on the glass. And also because the spotlights are coming through dirty glass. Thank you so much, Dennis Wilson. I appreciate that, my man. Also in here, I'm going to need to untangle that plant soon. It's kind of crazy that it has sent a runner up in 2 days, less than 2 full days. And it has grown from ground level all the way up. I took pictures of it, and I'll have the timestamp so I can actually like show people how quick it happened. But yeah, this tank gets fed a ton because for all the fish you see, there's also a bunch of fish you don't see, and they are down below, under here. Let's see if we can find some of them. And I want the food to reach them too, because like these Habrosus cories, they're really shy. Algae eaters are not shy. They're big gluttons. And the Tetras, not shy, but the Autosynclus, shy. And all of my cory catfish are fairly shy. If we can maybe see them from up top. Let's see here. I don't see, that the vegetation's getting so dense. Right now, this tank is in such a sweet spot for being a low-tech tank. It's great for growing plants. It grows them an inch or two a day, easily, if not more. Obviously, the lily's insane. And then also the cool thing that's going on is now it's reached that critical point. Here we got a gudgeon that's kind of hiding down low. So I've got a lot of fish in this tank that there's no hope I'd ever get them out if I wanted to get them out. But that just keeps the tank. Here we've got Cana Tetras, which I guarantee you... Whoa! He went flying, kind of surfing. I guarantee you, you will not find them at your local pet store. They're very expensive, and I have 2 of them. They don't look special, but they have an interesting history, which I'll do a video on soon, or at some point. And they look like those black neon tetras, but right here, come on, stay still. They have a blue eye and a red orangish head, like a sunset or a tequila sunrise kind of head. See it darting around there. Rather than that bluish iridescent color that the other ones have. So, yeah. And these tetras are just pigs. Also, wanted to point out on the tetra, I pointed out this before, but I told you guys watch, and it will develop, and it will be sad, and it will kill it. And it's still developing on this guy right here. You can see that black in his tail along his spine when he turns around the other side. You can see some now. But he's got cancer. He's got buildups in his spine, and they will build up towards his head, and they will kill him. And I've seen that in a lot of tetras. He's starting to not swim so right. I think his swim line is off. But yeah, you can see right there, he's got a line. I've seen that progress in several of them. At first I thought maybe it was worms or something like that. This tank is not aquascaped in any way. It's sheerly for mass plant growth, like as dense as I can get it, and still have, and there's still fish under there. You'd think some things would hatch in there, but that's for mass plant growth. Don't follow me if you're new at keeping fish. There are way too many fish in there. Whereas this tank over here was scaped originally with purpose to be an iwagumi tank. It's been moved around a little bit. Now this guy's the star of this tank. I'm trying to breed out his line with some females, and then we have some Phoenix rasboras in here, which I thought were going to be like the coolest, but they never ever come out, ever. So I don't even know if they're alive. I mean, I hate to say that, but I don't. I've seen one since I got them, and he came out, and then he saw me, and he hid. So, yeah. Let's see if we can maybe find one over here. They're always in the underbrush, holding perfectly still, but they're really beautiful. These ones are bright red, and they've got like a bullseye kind of thing on their side. These ones, they're similar to chili rasboras, but I don't see any under here. But this tank, it was designed to be more of an iwagumi style tank where the rocks take the center place, or the center piece. This is where my CPDs were. This is where my ruby tetras were. And yeah, you can kind of see I've thinned out a lot of the plants. But lots of crypts, lots of low light plants in there. Easy peasy tank. So that's that. This tank is the high-tech tank that's been through a couple renovations, but right now the goal is just to get it to keep growing these beautiful plants. And then what I'll do is every couple of days I gotta scrape algae, and so I'll eventually arrive at a point that seems good. See, all those worms are eating them now. Everyone's out. Yay, party. So thanks guys for joining. If you have any questions, if you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to ask. If you got an idea for a video, let me know. And I will talk to you later. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your fish. That you must take care of yourself to do. And swim on, guys. I'll talk to you later.